Actually, I don't really know if you know this, but originally I was trying to become a Catholic nun. Actually, I was preparing to become a Catholic nun. And I was trying to find the monastery. And it's because in the right after communist and independence, it was very hard to find the monastery. So before we didn't have it at all, but then I see some monastics, like Catholic nuns, and I was kind of chasing after them to find the monastery. But the situation happens that we was speaking in different language, which I didn't understand. So I didn't stay with them, and I was thinking maybe I find somebody else. And that time, one of my friends said, some Chinese Zen master is in town giving the talk. Do I want to go? So it's actually that's my beginning of the practice, and I didn't expect it. I didn't go for a special kind of Dharma because I was already preparing to become a Catholic nun, and I just wanted to go to see how does Chinese looks like. What Asian, but and I went for the talk. I listened the stories, as when everybody maybe know the stories. Very famous story about the monk traveling, and before we crossed the river, we saw this beautiful woman, and the one monk picked up this woman, helped her to carry her over this river, and put it where, and they continue walking, and. This another monk finally was very upset and asked him question, why did you carry this woman? You're a monk, you're not supposed to do this. And this monk just said, I left her on the river long time ago. Why do you still carrying her? And that kind of hit me, we carry so many things from our past. We still carrying it. It's happened long time ago, but we continue carrying it. And then I thought, wow, how many things do I carry on? And that kind of inspired me to right away to sign up, and next day I joined the retreat. And from then on, I have my 3 days retreat, and I thought it was a struggle for me in the beginning because I really liked it, but I wanted to be Catholic nun, so what should I do? But it seems so natural because it's really what I wanted to find myself, to understand this world, to understand why we're here, what is it all about. So it was very natural to choose the path which is actually looking into it, really questioning it. Because in the past, if I would ask the priest or other things, many things would be pushing me away from this question because nobody had the answer. Or just giving the answer which didn't satisfy me. It's just so surface, which is just kind of saying, leave me alone. And because of that, I started practicing, and that's my path began. So when afterwards, the Bong the master liked the story, I took the precepts in the airport, and we were from Bong the master. And after that, I just continue. I went for retreats, I went to do a practice, and then finally I went to Warsaw for 3 months retreat, and went to Korea with already kind of in mind of becoming a nun. So that's my path, how it started. So practicing in Hong Kong is not much difference from any other place practice, because you still have to look inside. You still have to see yourself. But maybe some cultural thing get influence in it, and it's not just because of practice, but because of monastic path. Because I'm choosing being a nun, maybe it's some extra kind of things you have to follow, which is in quantum school itself, it maybe won't be so obvious. So being in Hong Kong and practicing, I think it's very good don't know practice, because you never know what's going to happen. So if you're really into the schedule where you want to control everything what is going to be in front of you, this is really difficult. But I didn't even notice what with many years of this practice, it becomes so natural to be in this kind of don't know space, because many things happens. You may plan one thing, people come up, and it's completely different story. You wanted to rest, people came, you have to assist the people. So you don't have your personal time just for yourself, which is tiring, but at the same time you have this different mindset. First of all, also how may help you to serve, but another thing which is you can't plan, you never know what's going to happen. So in society which things changing so fast, I kind of see it as a benefit, because things does change all the time. You can't really do so much according what you plan. You may do have something what you wanted to do, but many things changes. And how do you face the things which is changes? So in Hong Kong, we may not have so much like culture practice. Now we do have 3 months retreats every year. That even past we may not have this long sitting periods, especially before we got this mountain temple, which we could do longer retreats. So the practice was usual morning, evening practice, and some extra practice what I would do. But mostly the practices was like serving the people, helping with whatever is happening, and really without being this completely don't know, especially when I didn't know the language in beginning. And I didn't speak the language. And at first I was laughing, because when I would go to Poland, I didn't speak Polish. When I know Polish, I moved to Korea, but I didn't hardly speak any English. Once I start kind of grabbing the English, I moved to Hong Kong, and then I had to learn the Cantonese. So the environment itself was already keep giving me a lot of don't know. You don't know the culture, you don't know the language, and plus you don't know who you are. So mixture of always don't know is kind of good practice. And I can't say it's easy. One be like, oh, okay, everything don't know is fine. It's not easy, but it's beneficial. In a way, what you can use with don't know to look at yourself, look inside, what's coming up. And things coming up, you are a human being, and like everybody else. So you have feelings, you have thinking, and you have your likes and dislikes, and what are you going to do with it? So practicing it doesn't mean you are perfect for everything, but if something comes up, what you do with it? Are you going to follow? Are you going to go against it? Are you going to fight with it? Or you change it in something which is beautiful and beneficial for everyone? I got older. Yeah, the practice is, as I say, in some ways true. I think this practice makes me more mature in many different ways. I may not be perfect like everybody. I could say it doesn't really matter how long you practice, you still have things to improve. But this practice gives me this space inside me. Also you can have this joy and peace which just comes from, which may not necessarily being blissed out all the time, but being in the know, it helps. Even sometimes it's not comfortable. usually I would use this very simple example, not just explaining just the word or these things, but just to share the experience of it. So, for example, you're at home, you're going to go for traveling, and all of a sudden you forget, where is your passport? You go through your whole house and you can't find your passport. You get panicking, it's time, it's really, you can't make new passport and you have to go with, and what you're going to do. So your mind goes wild and you have a lot of thinking and emotions, and it's like you try everything, you go through everything, and after you try so many things, you come to a point you have no more idea. And in some way it feels like you kind of let go, just like, so what is now? And your mind stays is like, I just don't know. And at that point, when you completely have this kind of, and so we're letting go and staying with like, it's a ding, I know where's my passport. And you go and it's that it is. So this is experience of this don't know, which is not about knowing or not knowing, but being in this space where you actually connected with everything, where all possibilities is possible. When you know something, is possible only thing which you know. But when to know is much more possible. So your mind becomes very wide to many possibilities. And you will be, if you're not attached to your own thinking, when your possibilities which is in front of you, you can see which one is correct and appropriate, which one would be more helpful to you and to everybody else. So everybody has the experience of that. It's not only when you ask the question and you have no answer, you say, don't know, but much wider and deeper experience, where actually you really don't know, but this don't know cuts off your thinking, and actually you get like big space and connection with everything. And from that point, some kind of possibilities really appear which you can do something. Maybe nothing you have to do, but you're very clear about it. And sometimes I don't know, we say very clear, sometimes I don't know, not so clear. But you're aware of it. And the most interesting thing is, what I really like about it, at that point, you are really alive. You're really alive in this being, in this just being in that moment, because you're not more in the past or in the future, just here right now, and you can be completely with what's happening with you. You may like it or not, doesn't really matter, but you are alive. It's not something somewhere, somehow. You are just now, just here, and you're alive. So I don't matter any challenging we're facing in our life. This doesn't matter political, ecological, your family, even yourself, your thinking. Doesn't really matter what problems or challenges you're facing, but you do need a space, which is you are not entangled in this kind of challenges. If you look at somebody else who has problem, when you look at somebody who has problem, somehow you can see clear what's going on, and you can very easily give advice. But when you are in the same situation, somehow it seems so horrible, and there's no way out. Why? So actually you are coming out of this, you are not really not careless, but you're looking at the situation in some way from the side, not from your own ideas or your own expectation, but see the things as it is. You're not entangled in it. You're just seeing it how it truly is. So if you see the nature how it truly is, not depending on your likes and dislikes, you naturally see what to do, how to respond to it. But you entangle with it, and when you also have your own ideas, you have your own likes and dislikes, then it's very hard to do anything. That this don't know mind is actually you stepping a little bit aside. It doesn't mean I'm not involved in it. Actually, you're more involved when you're not entangled, when you're seeing clearly. Seeing clearly is basically being first in the know and then seeing the truth. Recently, when I was in Lithuania, I really enjoy this one kind of incident who actually even more clearly showed me this situation. In Lithuania, we have this word we use very naturally to everybody. So somebody is thinking, we say he's drowned in his thinking. So it has the word like everybody would use it, and I was like, yeah, drown in the thinking. And he's like, that's true. That's what happens when we have so much thinking. We are drowning it. It's like you drown in water. It means you're not above the surface. You don't see the real world. You're only inside the water. So only what you experience is only that's what your world underneath the water. Maybe it's beautiful, maybe it's not. But you're not connected to the world. You're not connected to what is happening. You're not connected to the truth. You have your own truth, but not the real world. At the same time, when you drown, it also represents you're dead. So you're not responding to anything what is on the world. It means you're not responding anything what is on the surface. So being with the know is actually some way you coming up from the water. You see the world. Finally you see the world. You don't know what's going on, but you see it. And the more you see, you start seeing, that's the truth. So if you see what's happening, then you can do something. So first step, that's the know.